Good afternoon, this is HorseRacingNation.com handicapper Jarrod Horak, and we're up to our annual Kentucky Derby list. It's September, so it must be Derby time for HRN. We started this Kentucky Derby September list a few years back. I'll go back to 2010. Stay Thirsty actually was my original #1 for my September list then, and then the year after that, Alpha was my #1. Now both of them ended up in the Kentucky Derby, but they finished up the track and then they ended up winning the Travers that year. So we make a joke on the radio show that I do on the Fast Track with Steve Bortstein. We say that my Derby horses are going to win the Travers, but the last couple years my September horses haven't done as well. My top choices, Fortify and Purple Sky, the last couple years didn't actually fire, but it's never too early to get a start for sure for the Kentucky Derby. 6 of the last 8 Kentucky Derby winners, they already graduated, broke their maidens by October 4th of their 2-year-old seasons. So it's important probably to have a horse that's already started, maybe not graduated yet, but it wouldn't hurt that they already started. Now in 2012 I'll have another. He actually won his debut at Hollywood Park July 3rd of his juvenile season. In 2013 Orb, he lost his first 3 starts, then he finally broke his maiden at Aqueduct on November 24th. That was his first of 5 straight wins, and then he ended up winning the Kentucky Derby that year. Last year California Chrome, he got an early start. He won his 2nd career start of the Graduation Stakes at Del Mar July 31st. So it is important, and the last few horses, actually, if you look at it, actually had quite a number of starts. California Chrome had a lot of starts. Orb, he had a decent number of races. I'll have another, as we said, he got his early start in July of his 2-year-old season. So look for these horses to have at least started. It's tough if they don't run as a 2-year-old, obviously. That hasn't happened in forever to win the Kentucky Derby. So we're looking for these horses to get early starts. We're looking for solid juvenile foundation. We're looking for some pedigrees that look like they can move on and run better. Sharp graded stakes form, obviously. We would like to see a horse that have running style versatility, good connections that have been down the Derby path before. All this is important. Now some of the early graded races that have run so far, the Hopeful, the winner of that one, Competitive Edge, and he will be on my list. He beat I Spent It. That was a good effort, and they got a 90 Beyer speed figure for that one. The Grade 1 Del Mar Futurity, that went to Bob Baffert trainee American Pharaoh. He got a 101 Beyer speed figure. The Grade 3 Iroquois at Churchill, the first Kentucky Derby points race. Steve Asmussen trainees ran 1-2, Lucky Player, Bold Conquest. They ended up beating in that race, Mr. Z was the favorite. He ended up getting beat. Hashtag Bourbon was a troubled 3rd. Probably should have won that race. So that's some of the early races that I've run so far. Well, let's get to my list. We have 11 horses, and we're going to start from the bottom, work our way up. Number 11 on my Kentucky Derby Contender 2015 list is Frosted for trainer Kieran McLaughlin. Godolphin Racing. This one's still a maiden, has only run 1 time. Ended up finishing a troubled 2nd, a runaway winner, Bayard, that day. That was on August 23rd at Saratoga, so that was a nice effort. Tappet is the sire, and we know Tappet had a good year this year. Tonalist, the Belmont Stakes winner out of Tappet. Untappable, Kentucky Oaks winner. So we have a Belmont Stakes Kentucky Oaks, and we know that the Tappets can get a distance. We weren't sure before this year, but now with Tonalist, definitely consider them a threat, for sure at 1.25 miles. So this one's still a maiden, as I said, but good connections, good pedigree. He's one that could end up moving up. We mentioned I Spent It. He finished 2nd in the Hopeful, and he's going to be number 10 on my list. Tony Duttrose, the trainer. Before the Hopeful, he won his first 2 starts, including the Grade 2 Saratoga Special. So he has a lot of ability, and he showed a lot of ability in that race, a professional effort. He was able to get through along the inside. Nice effort that day. Solid effort last time. Super Saver, the sire. He won the Kentucky Derby in 2010. So we have a horse that's out of a Kentucky Derby winner, has good juvenile form so far. We'll see how he develops. Number 9 on the list, El Kabeir. This one finished 3rd in his debut. Blofeld was the winner for Todd Pleicher, and then he came back 2nd time out. Big effort. He won by more than 10 lengths at 7 furlongs at Saratoga, getting a 93 Beyer speed figure. His sire, Scat Daddy, and then the dam sire is Unbridled Song. Scat Daddy could be turf, so maybe the turf could be in his future. We'll have to see how far he wants to go, but he's shown some ability so far. Number 8 on the list, Chief Istan. This one trained by Larry Jones, and we know that Larry Jones can get these horses, even with sprint-oriented pedigrees, to get a distance of ground. He's done it before. He's always seems to have these horses that he'll take to fairgrounds, and they do well on the road to the Louisiana Derby, and I would expect that this one's going to take that path. Won his debut at Delaware Park on September 3rd, dueled on the pace, and just drew away to a nice win. So we'll have to see how far this one really wants to go, but Albano was one that had a similar pedigree that ended up, didn't run in the Derby, but he did well on the road to the Derby. He finished second in the Haskell. So this is one to certainly look for. Number 7 is Competitive Edge. We mentioned him for trainer Todd Pleicher. There's another one at a Super Saver, the Dam Sire Cape Town. I think that this one should be able to move on and run longer distances. Not sure how far, but again, we're going to see. He won both career starts, got 90 Beyer speed figures both times, looked good in both races, and for sure you're going to see him on the road to the Triple Crown. Todd Pleicher always has his horses primed for the road to the Triple Crown, and he's probably going to end up at Gulfstream Park this winter. Number 6, American Pharaoh for trainer Bob Baffert. He disappointed in his debut. He was the favorite at Del Mar. He faded. He didn't get in front that day. He got a nice easy lead in the Del Mar Futurity, and he just pulled away. He looked good. Pioneer of the Nile is his sire. He was my Derby horse in 2009. He ended up finishing second in the Kentucky Derby that year. Number 5, Carpe Diem is going to be another Todd Pleicher trainee. Windstar Farm looked good in his debut, 5.5 furlongs, Saratoga on September 1st. Good pedigree, Giants Causeway, Unbridled Song. So look for this one to be stretching out in the near future. Only that one career start, but he looked good first time out. He's got a lot of promise. Another Todd Pleicher trainee will take up the 4th spot on my list, Blofeld. I mentioned him, the James Bond villain, Blofeld. Quality Road is his sire. Stormcat, the Dam Sire. Nice pedigree here. He was 1 length good to the good in his debut. That was August 14th at Saratoga. He was the heavy favorite that day. 88 Beyer speed figure, so a good promising start to his career. And he's certainly one to watch, and you know that he's going to show up in all of the big races, and they're going to give him every chance to be a Derby horse. Now we get to the top 3 on the list. Number 3 is going to be Startup Nation, this one for Chad Brown. So far so good for his career. 2 career starts at 1 mile and a 16th on the turf, 2 victories including a win in the grade 2 with anticipation, an 85 Beyer speed figure. He's got an interesting pedigree. His sire, Temple City, he won the 2010 grade 3 Cougar II at 1.5 miles at Del Mar. So we know that the sire was long-winded. And then the Dam Sire Wagon Limit, he won the 1998 Jockey Club Gold Cup. So this one has an interesting pedigree to move on and run in longer distances and on the main track. And I'm interested to see when they actually do try him on the main track. I think at some point they probably will. He's shown a lot of ability, a big closing kick, and he's certainly one to watch with already 2 wins around 2 turns, albeit on turf. The number 2 horse on my list is Super Colossal. Another one with a good start to his career, 3 for 3, all 3 wins at Monmouth Park, including stakes wins in the Tyro and the Sapling. In the Sapling, he got an 86 Beyer speed figure. This one War Fronts the sire, King Mambo, the Dam Sire. So he's got more speed on the top with War Front, and then King Mambo should give him a lot of stamina. Another one that's bred for turf, but he's already proven on the main track. Eddie Pleicher Jr. Look for him at Gulfstream Park. He likes to be pretty close to the pace. I wouldn't be surprised if he did well at Gulfstream. It favors horses with early pressing speed. So look for him on the road in Florida. And then we come to my first number 1 this year. It's going to be International Star for trainer Michael Maker. He's had plenty of experience on the Derby Trail. Kenneth and Sarah Ramsey. Ken Ramsey is determined to win the Kentucky Derby. You know that he's going to do everything he can to get this horse into the race. He started his career in a turf sprint at Belmont. Nice, easy win. And then second career start, they moved him to the main track. It was a short field. He caught a horse that was a lone speed. He chased all the way. He was clearly second best. So he proved he could handle the main track in his second career start. Then he stretched out in the with anticipation. We mentioned that Startup Nation was the winner there. International Star, 3 wide throughout. He had some traffic trouble in the stretch, ended up clearly second best. So that was a nice, solid effort. The sire, Fusaichi Pegasus, he won the Kentucky Derby in 2000. A French deputy is the Dam Sire. So he should get more stamina from the top, more speed from the bottom. I think that this one's going to have a promising career. We'll have to see what direction they go on the Derby Trail. But you know that Ken Ramsey's going to want to get this horse in the Derby and do everything he can to get him there. And as I said, Michael Maker, he's been here before, General A-Rod this year. but he knows how to get a horse ready for the Derby. So this is our first list for the Derby. We'll be back plenty of times recapping stakes races, and we're going to be doing videos of the Derby preps, so we're going to keep updating this list. You can go over to horseracing.nation.wordpress.com to see the written blog. I'll do my top Derby list over at horseracing.nation.wordpress.com, horseracing.nation.com for the Kentucky Derby 2015 list of the top 250 Kentucky Derby contenders voted by the fans. So if you want to get involved, go over to horseracing.nation.com. That'll do it for this video. I'll be back in a few weeks to update this list.